I recently posted a story that somebody had shared saying how Instagram has actually killed travel, and everything is a clone. All these floating breakfasts, and they only romanticize it. They don't tell you real travel, and real travel doesn't have to be hard. Yeah, the power itself is only there till the job is. It's like I keep telling everybody that in life everything comes with an expiry date. Blah blah blah. So I said honestly, I said how many people are actually getting paid on this? So they said only two of you and one more person. So I said, so why are you not paying the others? So they said that's simple. They didn't ask
for
for
me.
it.
The one place that changed me was
Varanasi.
I was expecting that out of you. Thank you, Lakshmi, for allowing us to host you today. And it's really a pleasure hosting you. I have read a lot about you when I was researching. More and more layers about you were coming up, in the picture that you're just not a wildlife photographer, you're a storyteller, you're a traveler, right? And you're a writer. You have been, associated with the media for quite a long time, and you have launched many radio stations as well. So there was a lot of thing that we'll be talking about you. And today's podcast is about somebody who has to make a mark in the industry of travel, if they want to plan something in writing, what to do, what not to do, and about your journey, like how you carved your path, experimenting a lot with your career, doing writing, traveling, storytelling, then the wildlife thing comes into your life. This is something very interesting to me because I love animals. And you are an animal lover. I can clearly see that. And when I just going through your profile, I can clearly see that. And somebody who is an animal lover, this podcast is for them. So, welcome to Shelly Thoughts. It's my pleasure to host you today. How are you?
I'm good, and thank you so much for hosting me on this amazing podcast of yours. I mean, it's this so much that you have researched about me that I mean, I don't know so much. I mean, I never thought of myself as so many of these epithets that you have given me. I just call myself a storyteller and a media professional, and of course, traveling for me has always been a way of life. Animals, wildlife is a just an aspect of what I do. I'm more into the culture, travel, heritage, and anything that for me is, fascinates me or kind of I feel that there's a story to tell. And so thank you for hosting me.
Great. With that, there is one thing that is there in my mind. I really have to ask you. Uh, you once said that you were born in an old colony in Chennai with a Portuguese past and a reputation for being haunted. So, when you look back, do you think a place like that quietly shaped the kind of stories you chase today?
Well, I think stories have haunted me, more than I have been haunted. I think the my mom told me this story because when I was born, she was living in an area called the De Monte colony where her parents were. And historically, De Monte colony is a part of Chennai, which came from the Portuguese era. And there was a whole story about this gentleman and how he still haunts this place. So, and even today, the houses in that area are abandoned, and it has a very deserted look. There was even a movie that was made on this area, which is, of course, it was fictional, but it took into account the whole ghostly and haunted and the eerie atmosphere that this area had. And so when I was even recently when I was in Chennai and I was staying in Monte Colony, it was very close to where I lived. And so sometimes I used to drive past that area. And I didn't meet any ghosts though, but I think the ghosts of the past always kind of haunts us. Yes,
Yeah.
so I would say that stories have haunted me, but I'm yet to encounter a ghost in that sense.
Okay, so that place is still there. And which movie is it that was made on this scenario?
I think it was a Tamil movie which was called, I think it was a Tamil movie and it was called The Demonte Colony or something around it.
Oh.
Of course, there was a fictional story set in the area because that area is known to, that neighborhood is, which has a few smattering of old houses and I think there were talks of some real estate company taking it over. And so there's this, but there is a lot of legends around it about why that place is haunted. And it says that De Monte's family committed suicide there, and the Portuguese merchant who lived there. And so there's a whole lot of stories that kind of adds to
Hmm.
the haunted atmosphere of the place.
Hmm.
So if you actually go there sometimes in the night, especially, it does give that very eerie feel because it's been abandoned for years. So,
And
so when I said I was born, basically, I think, because my grandparents used to stay there and initially, so my mom used to make fun of me saying that, saying that I was a little eerie ghost, maybe troubling her or whatever. So she would probably bring that up sometimes, and
oh,
that just stayed with me.
I see you still call it Madras. I believe people who are native there, they're habitual to call it Madras, not Chennai, right?
Yeah, so like we always say, it's cliche it may be, but Chennai is the city, Madras is the emotion.
Yeah,
So, so
true
Madras is
that,
not
true
just a
that.
city or a place, it's
Great. And I can relate to that. So I'm a 90 born, right? So during our time was when we were in college or something, there used to be a pack that, okay, you will get this much of messages free or this much of time free. These will be the windows where you can make maximum calls. So I can totally relate to that. Not to that level, but yes, of course, I've seen, some nuances of that piece as well. So that's very interesting. And most people meet you as a famous travel name, but for 15 years, you sat behind a desk in a media. Who was Lakshmi before she ever boarded a flight for a story?
Lakshmi was a very typical corporate media professional, very ambitious,
Mm.
still a storyteller because and a content professional because I was working in the corporate in the media industry, but I was mostly in the programming side, in the content side, and then of course I made the transition from content to being a business head. Pretty much someone who always wanted to climb the corporate ladder, grew from being a mere correspondent in a in a broadcast media company to becoming a vice president of a company, managing markets. And so I've been largely in the broadcast media, so I've been in television
Yeah.
and radio, FM radio, and also very passionate about strategizing and so but end of the day, I think they say like you can leave the media industry but media never leaves you. So
Yeah.
though I did take a sabbatical after my stint in about 15 years in media, I still think at heart I'm pretty much a media professional.
Mm.
It's just that formats have changed and platforms have changed, screens have changed, but storytelling never goes anywhere, audiences never go anywhere. So I think the foundation that I had in media is even though I got into travel and storytelling and content creation and a whole lot of other consulting projects, I think deep down I retained my passion for the media in me, and I'm still call myself a media professional.
Great. I believe, taking that step at that point of time that, okay, now I've spent an enormous amount of time, uh, vertically ladder up in organizations at VP and heads level as well. And that point of time, taking a step that, okay, now I have to take a sabbatical. And now I believe it's been 21 years since you left the corporate life, if I'm not wrong. 2005.
Well, I did go back. Yes, I left in about 2008, to be very honest.
Hmm.
And then a couple of years ago, I did get back to corporate life after the pandemic. But I just felt that I'm happier being me. Okay, my dog is barking now.
That's okay.
Can you hear him?
Yes.
Okay. So should I just
That's
repeat
okay.
that
No, no,
again?
no. No, no, no.
Is
It's
it
okay. That's okay.
okay? So yeah, so I'll just repeat that in any case. So because getting my flow back. So I think I took my sabbatical in 2008 with when I was with Big FM and I was heading the entire South operations and I was a and after that I've been pretty much a consultant and traveler, a storyteller, building my and also content creator, what we call influencer today. But those days,
Mm.
we didn't. The word was not yet coined.
Yes.
So, but I was pretty much doing all of that. And one of the I started blogging, travel blogging way back in 2005. When I was still programming head of Mirchi at that point of time, we were setting up the Mirchi Chennai station. So when after Big FM, I just decided to get full plunge headlong into this, and I started working on building my own brand because I thought I had done enough of building brands for the
Yeah.
media company.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think briefly I did go back to corporate life just about a couple of years ago. But then I just felt that I'm pretty much a free bird, and I like to be my own consultant and to do my own traveling and storytelling. So yes, so I guess, but except for that couple of years, I've always been, someone who is, I mean, I'm, doing different things because we have only one life. I mean, I don't want to get stuck in, boxed in a typical cubicle role or a typical corporate role, or putting myself in a particular company and becoming another corporate slave, doing what they want us to do. I mean, it's great. You look at it as another role, but then I think that's not me. I'd like to be my own boss. I'd like to be my own person. I'd like to
Mm.
tell my own stories, do my own,
Mm.
be the master of my own time, try different things because, like I said, one thing that travel teaches you is that life is short. There's so
Mm.
much to see, so much to experience. I think the
Mm.
buzzword now is experience. It's not just about sights and sounds. There's so
Mm.
much to experience in today's world, and you don't want to be stuck in getting into a back to a cubicle, or even work from home today and attend calls and get stuck in a very
Mm.
stereotypical kind of a role.
No, I can totally relate to it because I've spent like approximately more than 13 years in a corporate life. And when I decided to step back and, decided to do something of my own, the taste of owning your time is non-negotiable thereafter. Because to start your
Absolutely.
career and to build your base, corporate life is good because you learn discipline, you learn leadership, you learn how to collaborate with people, how to do a team management, how to do you know you learn empathy in leadership and thoughtfulness as well. So I believe one should take an experience of corporate for sure, because that gives you a base which you can then later on align in your life to have a disciplined life for yourself. That's with me personally.
Yeah.
But once you decide that, okay, now I have to protect my space and energy and I have to build something of my own, as you rightly said, I have to create my own brand, I believe then there is no going back. Because you know that now you are the owner of your time, so you'll spend it very cautiously. That is one. You really get the responsibility of you then, right? In a corporate life, you would spend 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, you don't know. You're just doing it because that's your roles and goals and you have to meet it. But once you decide to build something of your own, I
Absolutely.
believe then you are very conscious about how you are spending your time. There are no Mondays and Saturdays or Sundays then. But yes, you know that, okay, if I have to spend like 5 hours, those 5 hours has to be focused time. And then, as you just said, once you taste that you're the owner of your time, then personally for me also, there is no going back ever. At least till now.
Yeah, the power itself is only there till the job is. It like I keep telling everybody that in life everything comes with an expiry date.
No, yes, of course, everybody has their own life and they have their own responsibilities. One can take a step to move out of it. One cannot take a step to move out of it because of the surrounding they have, the responsibilities they have. So we totally respect that. But the perspective you're trying to give is that try to build your brand out of your corporate life so that it sustains with you. it that brand should be
And
something
don't
which
sell your
which
soul.
yeah.
Sorry, and I said, and don't sell your soul entirely to a
Yes,
company. Don't give all of you to a company and believe that that company is your life and your universe. It is not, you know.
so
Just
that.
give a part of you, you know, and ensure that they value that part at least in monetary terms.
No, I totally get that. I believe with that, the another thing that I want to ask you that are you this is this is an irony, I believe, right? And this is something I really love. You set up and launched FM radio stations across the country, yet you have said that you barely got to be on air even once. And then years later, those same stations were interviewing you as a travel blogger. No, I believe that's very interesting. And one thing that one should take away from it is that, you know, everything happens at a certain time, not before it, not after it. So when the time is right, everything will fall in place according to your plan. So if something is not happening according to your plan right
Absolutely.
now, I believe the time is not right for you in that case, right?
Exactly. Look, yeah, look at it. I always keep looking at a tabebuya tree in front of my house for my inspiration. And
Mm.
I look at the seasons. There are there's a particular season when you can't even spot a single leaf and it is fully covered with pink flowers. It's just so much of pink. There is not a single branch or not a single leaf that you can see. And then there is a season where it is totally bare. There's not even a leaf on that plant, literally, but it's just bare branches. The flowers are fallen down, the leaves are fallen down, and it is just bare branches there. Nature has its own
Yeah.
seasons. Why are we rushing every time? You know, there's a time to shine, there's a time to rest, there's a time to grow, there's a time to chill. And I think we should just follow the seasons of life for ourselves too. Why are we putting this unnecessary pressure on ourselves all the time to be something, on top of everything? Why can't we just enjoy life, experience life, take every moment as it comes? Some moments are great, some moments don't work out. It's okay.
Hmm. No, that's very powerful. In fact, so time is of great essence. So moving forward, Lakshmi, you started,
Can I have my
blogging.
quick chai? So
Yeah, sure, sure,
can I quickly finish my chai? We don't
sure,
mind.
sure.
It's just get
That's
feeling
okay.
very
No, you take your time. That's
you have
okay.
chai.
I mean,
No, no,
I
no.
don't.
I'll quickly finish. You have chai?
No, no, no. I don't take. I quit caffeine few years back.
Not chai. I don't drink coffee either.
No, no, no. I am no tea, no coffee.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It was difficult, but
I
yes,
I'm not
I
able
believe.
to give up.
Now I know it was difficult for me too, but I believe when you make a resolve, then there is no going back. So my mother is very much addicted to tea. She cannot start her day without a tea. So she needs definitely a tea in the morning. So
I
great.
need 2 cups of tea.
Yeah, yeah,
Morning
same.
one and evening one.
Yeah, same with her.
So much into coffee, but I need these 2 cups. Otherwise, my brain doesn't function.
Uh,
So maybe I need
I
to,
can
you
start
know.
a whole story on it that you believe that your brain cannot work on it, but this is all in your brain. Your body is just
In the
habitual
mind,
to it.
yeah.
That's it. Moving
I
forward.
agree. No, no, I gave up coffee like that. Yes.
Oh, great. I believe that's
Yes.
good because coffee is
Yeah.
even high content of caffeine in that case. So it's better. Can we start? You're done with your
Yes.
tea?
Yes.
So quickly,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I'm done. Yeah, it was
Okay.
just a quick sip to just get that little energy in the evening.
Great. Might be a stay over there, right? Depend. So I believe that barter also gives you the visibility at the starting of the career because then once you have the visibility in the market, then you can accordingly put a price on your time, on your content accordingly. That makes sense.
I think, yeah, I think deep down, no, Shelly, everything eventually starts with your intent. What do
Yeah.
you want to do?
Hmm.
If you want to, like as I said, I don't need another skincare product. I don't want another meal in some fancy restaurant. These are not my intent. I don't, I mean, there might be a beauty for a beauty blogger for whom that is required. There might be a food blogger for whom that is required, or a food influencer. I'm not saying I don't respect that. It's just not for me. So the barter has to make business sense to me too. People get carried away by every freebie that they get. It's not about freebies. It's about your intent, your purpose, and whether that whatever deal that you're striking, whether it's a barter deal or whether it is a part payment, consulting, whatever you do, does it fit into your overall strategy and a plan for yourself? You have to think of yourself as a brand first of all, and you have to value yourself first, because the world is not going to value you. I still remember about recently about a few years ago, just before the pandemic, uh, about 20-30 influencers were invited to a small little village, a small town rather, in a particular state, and in India, and I clearly put my foot down and I said, I need to be paid for this. And then, so I said, otherwise I'm not coming. So I said, then they were trying to hard sell and they said, it's a great experience, blah, blah. I said, I'm sure there are hundreds of experiences and every experience is important. But my time is limited. And if I'm saying yes to you and I'm coming for free, then I'm actually letting go of 2 or 3 other experiences that I can get as well. So I need to be paid, otherwise I'm not coming. And this was obviously, like I said, the whole playbook of influencers is not yet set in. People didn't believe that you should be, people used to feel even uncomfortable asking for money at that point of time. And it was so easy and a lot of people took huge pride and say, oh, I was invited to this place. I was invited to that place. Great. I mean, of course, it's nice to be invited, but I mean, look beyond it. What are you going to get out of that? Again, it's the same story that corporate lives tell you, right? It's the same illusional world that you're living in. So finally, I got my money from that particular trip. And then I heard that only, then they told me, please don't tell any, the usual thing, please don't tell anyone, blah, blah, blah. So I said, honestly, how many people are actually getting paid on this trip? So they said, only two of you and one more person. So why are you not paying the others? So I said, it's simple. They didn't ask for it.
Oh,
She said, you were
always
persistent and you asked for it.
everything is a no if you don't ask for
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
exactly. And worst case scenario, what can happen? If you ask and if they're definitely not going to pay, they're going to tell you a no. So why don't you ask? And then you can choose whether you still want to do the barter deal or you don't want to do it. But why don't you ask? I don't understand the hesitate. People are hesitate to ask. So already we defeat ourselves. We do self sabotage even before the world is going to we only decide that we are not worth it. Then why will anybody else decide that you're worth it?
Self-worth is important because then only will we understand that what to charge and how others
Yeah,
will
I
see
don't
you.
know whether you know. Well, exactly. I don't know whether you heard in The Devil Wears Prada, Meryl Streep actually did an interview and she said that when the sequel came and she asked for certain hikes in her salary and certain perks and everything else, and she thought that they may not give it to her, but they did. And then she said, if I had known this 20 years ago, I would have probably asked for it then.
Yeah.
So, all of us make that mistake of selling ourselves short.
True that. True that. No, absolutely right. Value yourself first, then the world will start valuing you. True. Great. So now you have traveled most of the places. So if you have to tell 5 places in India and 5 places international, which one would you pick and why? And
But yeah, these are some of the names that come.
any one place that
Yes,
stayed with you like very close to your heart or any experience on
Japan.
if Japan? Any particular
Japan,
city in
Japan.
Japan?
Because I think in Japan, So in Japan, I'll tell you, it's not so much about the place, but it's about the people. So I remember when I was in Kyoto, and
Mm.
I was with a guide who was over, and he was actually taking me around this place. We went on the Gyeon Geisha tour, and from there I was going to the Fushimi Inari Shrine, which everybody knows. We see those Senbon tories, those vermilion gates. And when we were going there, he was telling me about this concept that Japanese believe in called Ichigo Ichie. So we've all heard about Ikigai, but
Yeah.
Ichigo Ichie was something very, something which very it touched a chord. He said that the Japanese love to savor every moment of their life, and they look at every moment like it could be the last moment. So, and especially if they were meeting somebody, they treat it as it is possibly the last time they would meet this person. It could be a stranger, or it could also be someone that they are meeting in their own colleague circle, friend circle, but they want to savor that moment. So he was telling me that, these moments that he spent with me, he said, were something that he would want to treasure. And that is a concept of Ichigo Ichie that he was talking about. So
Mm.
I think that was a very beautiful moment for me. And there were so many such moments. Japan, like as I said, is more about the place and more about the people than about just the place. And everywhere you see these kind of cultural, connections that kind of draws you to that destination.
And what about in India? 5 places and any particular one that stayed with you.
Oh, it's very difficult to pick India because every place in India is special. Every place
Mm.
has its own story. It's not easy to pick one and say this is something which means to me more. But but I'll tell you one part of one thing that made a very that is very special to me is when I took my corporate sabbatical,
Mm.
and I didn't know at that time that for me, traveling has always been a way of life. I didn't know that I'm
Mm.
going to be looking at this as a career, or I'm going to get into blogging or storytelling or even consulting in the travel domain. And it just I went into rural Karnataka as a solo traveler, and I'm talking about way back in 2008 again, where even though we had internet and stuff like that, but a lot of places which are don't have any network, and not any of these places are also on on Google Maps, and they
Mm.
were still pristine. Thankfully, Instagram had not come and they had not killed destinations like the way they're doing it right now with random influencers dancing all over the place. But these places had a special, aura around them, a mystery around them, a vibe around them. And I went into rural Karnataka and I visited close to 30 to 40 ancient Hoysala temples. And
Which
most of
temples?
these were not just historic.
Which temple?
Hoysala. These were built
Ho-
by the Hoysala dynasties. These are different temples, but it was built by the Hoysala dynasties. And some of them, like the ones in the Chennageshwar temple in Belur and the Hoysaleshwar temple in Halabid, are in the UNESCO heritage sites. Now the Somnathpur also one. But I think I went into, my cousin and I, we went into some of these really unknown villages, and many times we would just, it was not just about a history session. It would just be sitting with these women and men, having a cup of coffee with them, talking about their lives, sitting on the temple, the steps of these temple, or just some of these temples, they would just give me the keys and they would just say, open the doors yourself, and watching, the locals come and go, and just listening to their stories, or just sometimes sitting on, like as I said, a temple, there were these beautiful temple ponds, and we would just sit there and do some bird watching and just, talking to people. And I think that kind of created something in my mind. I kind of transformed me into a different person. Time literally stood still. I started, appreciating, and like I said, I was just on a sabbatical from the corporate life, still in crossroads of my life, whether to go back to media, whether to do something of my own, and I think that journey, like they say, journey is the destination, right? And that journey changed everything for me. That gave me a sense of they like in English, in poems, there's a poem called Road Not Taken, by Robert
Mm.
Frost, and I swear by that poem because I feel that is like the story of my life. When he says, I took the one less traveled by, and that's made all the difference. And I felt that was what I wanted to do, and that was my purpose, that was my ikigai. And till date, I think that journey made a huge difference in my life.
Mm. So you cannot pick one in India, any place that
I
you
cannot.
know long to go back again and again.
Uh, Very difficult. I would love to go back to the Hoysala temple for sure.
Was
I mean,
that?
I think I've been to various places. Been Ladakh. I've been to Madhya Pradesh. I love Madhya Pradesh. I've been to Orissa. I find Orissa very, very fascinating, especially Mangal Jyoti for the birds. My own home state, Tamil Nadu, which is so rich in
Yeah.
stories and temples. Karnataka for me has always been special. Also, states like Rajasthan, which every time I go there, I see something different. I'm planning to go to Sundarbans soon. I'm looking
Wow.
forward to it. I think every place has given me a different perspective, a different aspect of India.
Mm.
I've spent a lot of time with artisans. I've spent a lot of time in my old temples. I've spent a lot of time with tribes. I've spent a lot of time in wildlife hotspots in the mountains, by the riverside. Kashmir is another place which has my heart. I think different places have given me a different aspect of India, and I think when I went to Andhra, for instance, I went to some of these old ruins of monasteries in near Vizag. So I think it's a new. Every place gives you a different perspective, different learning, different story, different experience, and they talk to you in a different way. It's
Yeah.
very difficult
Mm.
if you to just pick on five and say, okay, these are the five, especially in India, because I feel you need many lifetimes to explore India. Hampi is one place I would recommend
Mm.
everybody to visit at least once in their
Mm.
time.
Yeah.
I know it's become very touristy now, but I've been going to Hampi since I was a 21-year-old when I was studying insofar as a mass comm student when we came down there to do a field trip in photography. So yeah, there are different destinations. Like I said, each one is special.
Mm. So Vizag for one, I spent a
Totally.
lot of months in Vizag. I love that place. If a chance given, I can go back to it again. I just totally love that place.
Yeah,
The vibe and the people and the
yeah,
city is very nice.
yeah.
So moving forward,
I love I want to
Var-
just add that I also love Varanasi. I think
oh yes, yes,
this
yes, yes.
people
Totally
call
agree
it
with you.
I remember somebody said it's the city of death, but I think it's the city of life. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the most, dynamic place that I have seen. So much of energy, and it's the oldest city in the world, I would think, and it is so youthful. It's the vibe there is something that it's divine, it's spiritual, it's something that draws you there all the time. Maybe it's Ma Ganga, maybe it's the kachoris, maybe it's the whole divine feeling that you get there. The It's so rich, and it is so every time I go there, I kind of feel a sense of surrender. And I think that's a very, very special destination for me. If you ask me about one, if I had to pick, I would pick Varanasi.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Fortunately, I got the chance to visit, and for me, that place is Shiva himself, right?
Yeah,
So Ganga and Shiva. For me, it's Shiva. He lives there. He breathes there. I believe that's the energy people have over there. Uh,
yeah,
लोग कहते हैं अगर आपने वहाँ जन्म भी
you
ले लिया तो
said it.
आपको ये लोग कहते हैं वहाँ जन्म भी ले लिया आपने तो आपको मोक्ष की प्राप्ति हो जाएगी तो वहां पे आप लोगों से मिलो
Yeah,
दे आर वेरी एनर्जेटिक नो मैटर अ रिक्शा पुलर इज देयर और अ फ्लावर गाय इज देयर or a kachori shop is there, everybody will greet you with so much warmth and Love. So,
Totally. The divine pull there, the spiritual high there you get, you literally feel reborn there. I mean, uh, I personally had a very, very personal transformation there, spiritually speaking. I found this divine pull towards Mahadev in Varanasi. Until then, even though I've been to so many temples and so many temple towns, and every time I go, I do my little prayers, but something's completely transformed me when I went to Varanasi and Prayagraj in the first Kumbh, the Arth Kumbh. And
wow.
after that, my kind of spiritually, I've been pulled in a different direction altogether. So yes, if whether you go there for spiritual reasons or for uh, touristy purpose or whatever it may be, Varanasi is a place, Banaras is a place which just kind of changes you as a person.
No, I totally agree with you. Any experience you want to share of Varanasi that you believe is worth sharing?
Uh, I don't have any tangible experience as such. We went to Varanasi for the first time as a for a travel writer conclave. I was staying in the cantonment area, and then after the conclave was over, this was even before the Arth Kumbh, the first time I went there. And then my husband joined me, and we were staying in the near the Ghats. And I went to Assi once for the early morning Aarti. And after that, I had spoken to a boatman to get me darshan. Those days there was no, you had to go via the gullies and things like that. And I'd got darshan in Kashi Vishwanath temple, and then in Annapurnis, and also Kal Bhairav.
Mm.
And I was coming back from there, and I was going on the boat, and I was watching the sunrise, and I could hear the music, and something, there was a sudden pull. It's like a very personal experience that I don't think you can put it in words. And the next day I told my husband that, look, I want to go visit these moksha bhavans, where these women wait for their death, and most of them are abandoned, and I don't know
Oh,
why I felt like doing that. And I just went. We just, both of us just went. We bought some stuff, and and fruits and whatever we could do, and of course, and believe me, something. It was one of the very. It was very tragic in its own way, but it was a very, very fulfilling moment. Just sitting with those women, spending the whole day there with them, talking to them, listening to their stories. But it's none of them were unhappy, or none of them were complaining, or none of them were crying or anything. They had just accepted their fate, of course, but they were so happy to see a human soul out there. Somebody who came to talk to them, somebody who came to cherish them, somebody who came to be with them. And I don't know what it is, but it is one experience I don't think I've had anywhere in any of my travels. Uh, but just being there, I felt that they wanted me to do that,
yeah.
and wanted me to experience this. And
Mm.
like I said, something after that changed in me as a person.
No, I totally agree with you. I believe these experiences change you forever. And there is one thing that people often say about Mahakal Ujjain, that once you visit there, your life will be changed, good or bad. Either he will remove certain things from your life which you really never wanted, but you do not know if you want it or not. You mentioned about spirituality number of times during the course of the discussion. This is something very close to my heart as well. And uh, I don't want you to dwell more into your personal space because that is something your very personal thing. But is there anything, an experience that you would like to share, which you believe that can motivate somebody to walk the spiritual path? So I'm sure that is something that people must visit and just get an experience out there. And now I'll move on to your wildlife. life. You started with media, storytelling, media houses, VPs, heads, and then into the travel, then into the wildlife. Now, in this whole turn, you have said that yourself you're not a wildlife photographer or an expert birder, but what pulled a storyteller toward flamingos, forests, and the things most tourists drive straight past? And you recently spent time with the flamingos of the Run of Kutch, right? When you stand in a place like that, camera down for a moment, what goes through your head?
So I don't call myself a wildlifer or a wildlife photographer when I took a sabbatical again, and as much as I got excited about culture and heritage, I was naturally drawn towards natural heritage. And more than the tiger or the leopard or even the elephant, my fascination was towards birds.
Yeah,
Uh,
same
I,
here.
I became yeah, so I'm an amateur birder. I can stare at a bush for hours and wait for a particular bird to pop up. I can listen to the call of the bird and I can just keep wondering which one it is. For me, it's sheer mindfulness. It's zen to go birding,
Yeah.
to go into the forest, to go into a and go to a lake.
About this life that you would never put on Instagram. Is there any?
Actually, Actually, I would put on Instagram the hard part of the life. I mean, I don't want to glamorize travel on Instagram. I think it's travel is unnecessarily glamorized on Instagram as all these I recently posted a story that somebody had shared saying how Instagram has actually killed travel and everything is a clone, all these floating breakfasts and they only romanticize it. They don't tell you real travel. And real travel doesn't have to be hard. Real travel doesn't have to be, of course, there is always a safety issue, which is for a solo
Yeah.
traveler, but it's important to talk about it. And it's also important to, not to exaggerate everything, but to tell the truth about safe. There are certain places which are safe and there are certain places which are not safe. And also, as a traveler, you are as much responsible for your safety as the place or the people are. Like if I'm going to a destination and I am feeling that a particular place is not very safe, then I will use a sense of my common sense and discretion to figure out whether there are certain experiences I need to do or not. I mean, I'll give you a case in point. I was in Barcelona, for instance, on a solo travel. Now, Barcelona is known for, it's not always the most safest
Yes.
of all the
Yeah.
countries in Europe. Now, I was also staying in a place little outskirts of Barcelona, almost close to the airport, in a small little village. So I used to travel by public transport. So I used to take the shuttle service and public
Mm.
buses from that village to the city and come back. Now
Mm.
I had to once or twice. I was there for about 3 4 days. So it's not like every night I could do nightlife there on my own
Yeah.
because the first night I went out there and I stayed a little longer. I didn't get great vibes, especially from a safety perspective. So the next day, I decided that I'm not going to hang around there late in the night. So if it meant letting go of a certain nightlife experiences but
Experience. Yeah.
compensate by doing something else in the day, you need to do it for your own personal safety. And it is important to keep your wits around you. So sometimes you
Yes.
also have to take those little choice, I mean little decisions, because it's your safety, and you can't just blame it on a destination and say, oh, but I had a bad experience there. But you have to be careful. The same in Italy. Like I've had some great experiences in Italy, but Italy is also known to be a little unsafe, and it's important that you are careful when you travel to such destinations. The same with many places in India as well. So
Yeah.
I think these are aspects that one needs to talk about. You need to get real. You need to talk about scams. You need to talk about women's safety. You need to be careful about it. You don't have to hide or make it look only showcase the glamorous parts of travel. And at the same time, I think travel is more than just these fancy floating breakfasts and all the romantic angle aspects of it, and wearing all your fancy clothes and taking all those fancy selfies. The real travel is about being practical, is about being experiential, understanding destinations, understanding people and culture, and respecting that local culture.
Hmm.
And in some don't like influencers. Some places don't like people being loud. Some places
Yeah.
don't like people doing fancy reels. You have to respect that.
Hmm.
And I think I think now the world is divided. Sometimes I feel into travelers and travel content creators. And not necessarily every travel content creator is a traveler. And similarly, not
No,
necessarily that every real traveler is a travel content creator.
no, I totally
And you don't want to
resonate with you when.
content stuff. Sorry, yeah. Oh,
So,
not at all. You
few
make
things.
me feel yes.
No. So, 27 years of saying yes to the road. What has the traveling taught you yourself about yourself that sitting still has not? Very quickly.
One second, my dog is barking. Raju, shh. Okay, I
Hmm.
think travel has made me more mindful. It's taught me to. Sorry, he's barking. Raju,
So,
no, no, no. Good boy. No, please, meeting. Shh. Sorry, I have a paralyzed boy. Okay. So travel has taught me to slow down, taught me to, be mindful, made me more, someone who, respects local culture. Sorry, I'll just take that again because I just got distracted with him.
that's okay.
I've written one blog about how the 10 lessons that I've learned on the road. And I think I just kind
Oh,
of summarized.
no, I great. I'm sure it's very interesting one to take away from it. So, before we move, there is a quick round. I call it different names when I host different people. For you, it is window seat because it is related to traveling and you're passionate about it. But before we move forward, I want to really ask you really one thing that one place, and you have to finish this line for me. The one place that changed me was.
Varanasi.
I was expecting that out of you. No, I believe that's very true, and I'm sure whoever will listen to this, they will resonate with it. It really changes the your perspective, how you look at life. So, with that, we'll move on to the last segment of our podcast, which is about the window seat, where it will be rapid fire. You'll not get time to rephrase your answers. It will be very quick,
Oh,
one word answers.
okay.
Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so uh, mountains or coastline,
Mountains.
sunrise shoot or sunset shoot,
Sunset.
map or no map,
No map.
wow, backpack or suitcase,
Sorry, I missed that.
backpack or suitcase.
Well, this was a bit challenging because I started with a backpack. Now I'm happy with a suitcase.
Great. And the most honest moment of any trip is
The most honest moment,
of any trip is
I think the day you land.
oh, okay. The finish the sentence. A camera makes you
Uneasy sometimes.
wow. Home to me smells like
My pillow and my dogs.
and wild is teaching me to
I missed that again.
the wild is
Can you
teaching
repeat?
me to
The wild is teaching me to respect.
wow. Okay, I'll just go on to the slightly harder window seat for you. The
Yes.
single best meal you have eaten on the road in one time.
I'm a vegetarian, so this is going to be a. I need to really think because like little conservative when it comes to meals because being a vegetarian. Um, the single, I think trying local vegetarian food in Vietnam and Japan.
Wow. Wow. Um, an animal encounter you will never forget.
Elephants in Kaziranga when
Wow.
we had to wait for hours in a wildlife safari for the elephants to give us permission because we are obviously in their territory. So, we had to wait for them to give us permission to leave because every time we would try to go, they would come and chase us away. So we waited for the mob to go and then we actually had to wait like a couple of hours.
Wow. So I believe this incident really made me think that wildlife humbles you, isn't it?
Totally. And we have to respect their territory.
Indeed,
We are the
indeed. And
we are the intruders there.
true that, true that. A phrase in a language you do not speak that stayed with you.
Ichigo Ichie in Japanese.
Wonderful. Okay, Lakshmi, this is something very interesting. I really, saw a very different side of traveling, storytelling, and wildlife through you. I resonate in on many levels with you when it comes to wildlife, at least, especially the bird part. That is something very close to my heart, and the Varanasi part. And so I'm so grateful to you that we get to do this, and I'm looking forward to host you personally, physically, once we meet up again. Thank you for that.
I would love to kind of catch up in person and, maybe even do a trip together. Who knows? Maybe we might get
Yeah.
to go to Ujjain together or any other place. But Ujjain is something which definitely is Mahakal. I've been wanting to go. And maybe, the timing is now. And maybe he's just calling us together.
Oh, I wish he listens to this. Thank you so much. And I would love to travel with you because I'm sure that looking at the places from your lens, from your perspective, will be absolutely mesmerizing for me. So I'm looking forward to such experiences. And thank you so much for coming up again, sharing your experience, and looking forward to host you once again. Take care.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me over. It was lovely talking to you. I didn't feel, how time just passed. I think we spoke about so much, and I didn't feel like I'm meeting you for the first time. That too online. It felt like we've known each other for years, and we connected so well. And I think it's the best part about this, this conversation that we had.
Great. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Thank you. It was indeed
Thank
lovely.
you. Thank you
Namaskara.
for your time.
Take care.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Thanks.